Hey everyone, happy afternoon. Welcome back. Happy New Year to everybody. I am joined here with the amazing Danielle Weil, and I'm super pumped to be revealing her shiny new website. And as I mentioned in the text, Danielle is a best kept secret. She's a copywriter that's worked with some really amazing names, which I will let her talk a little bit more about. But we are going to dive in and show you the kind of progression of the brand. So we've been working together for a little while. We did all of the manual and the foundations of the brand, and now we've moved forward into the website. So I'm going to show you all of that. So Danielle, thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me back.
Awesome, so excited. So yeah, on top of what I shared, I would love for you to say just a little bit more about yourself and your work in the world before we dive in.
Sure. So as you mentioned, I started out as a copywriter, worked with people like Todd Herman, Ryan Levesque, Selena Soo, Marisa Murgatroyd, Josh Turner, lots of seven-figure launches, promos, and I've shifted recently, in addition to the done-for-you work, to working with business owners who are currently writing their own copy. So coaching them through that process and helping them through that process, and helping them really own and feel confident about the copy that they are putting out into the world.
Awesome. So when we dive in, I'm going to go ahead and share, and we can talk while we're sharing as well. So for the brand manual, that's really the first process. So some of you on my page have seen, we do these lives before. You've seen kind of what I do, but for those of you, this is the first time, maybe you're like, what is a legacy brand? How does this work? We really go through the foundational pieces, which is the messaging. And, Danielle's helped me with my copy. Same thing, like copywriters need help with their messaging sometimes, because as I always say, you're in the bottle, you're too close to your work. It's really hard to look at it objectively. So what I'm going to share first is Danielle's brand manual. So if you want to share, Danielle, like what going through this process was,
Sure.
like for you, that'd be awesome.
And I would add, as a copywriter, just in general, as a business owner, you are close, especially if you're an expert brand, like you're the face of your brand, then it becomes even harder to separate your personality and who you are as a person from who you are as a brand. And so the biggest, I guess, aha for me through this process was being able to visualize my business and my brand as separate from myself. And as something that exists separately. It sounds, I think, to many people kind of, oh, that's obvious. But for me, it was a really important part of being able to look at it in a more objective way, really lean into it, really start putting myself out there more, because it wasn't about putting myself out there, it's about putting my brand out there. And when those became two different things, it actually became a whole lot easier.
Thank you for the reminder for everybody, because oftentimes you hear you are your brand and you have to show up. And if you are somewhat introverted or just don't like being behind the scenes, I'm just like that too. It's not fun to put yourself out there. You kind of have to force it. So like you said, it kind of removes that barrier. So I'm sure a lot of people love hearing that. And by the way, if you're joining us live, I cannot see comments necessarily at the moment, but please say hello. Tell us you're here. If you have any questions, let us know. We'd love to hear from you. So yeah, let's go back and I will share the brand manual. I'm just going to go through it really briefly. So the first thing we do is get clarity on your core brand values, and that really helps shape everything else in your brand. So many times, people think of a brand as the colors, the logos, the website, which we're going to show in a moment. But if you don't get clarity on the values, your vision, mission, big ideas, and those types of pieces, then what happens is you end up putting lipstick on a pig. You're just like, oh, this logo looks fun. These colors look fun. And you haven't done the deep work to really dive into your message and what you're sharing to the world. So Danielle, if you would like to just talk to that piece of the process, like the vision, mission, big ideas, that would be awesome.
Yeah, and it's funny because the first time we went through this, I remember talking about it a certain way and having gotten some distance from it, you get new perspectives on it, right? So going through this, and it really is cool how everlasting it is. But the thing that again pops for me, seeing this again and thinking back on the process, is how much the visual brand, even though they don't feel connected, how tied the visuals are to the core message. In a way that if I'm not a designer, I don't see how, but I feel it. And that feeling, I think, transfers to my audience as well. So it's a bit of an intangible, at least for me, but it's very, very cool to see it keep happening.
Awesome. And then we move on to the brand story. We get really clear in Danielle's audience, what their needs, their wants are. We're not going to dive a ton into that just for time's sake, and it's not pretty to look at, but really getting clear on who Danielle is. So yes, she's an expert copy coach, but she's also a narrative cultivator. She believes in storytelling, but from a different perspective, really telling the narrative. She's also a launch strategist. She knows so much about launching, an epiphany creator, and a best kept secret. So this really also helps mold how, like she said, she can show up as her brand, not necessarily as herself. And then this last piece here, Danielle, I will let you speak to. This is really like everything in a nutshell, which you will see then how that transposes to the rest of the brand as well.
Yeah, and this was the piece that I said, like, made me, slam my hand on the desk in joy. I'm like, oh yes, this is it. That moment where I feel like you really got what I was about more. And when I teach copy, I'm like, you have to know your ideal audience better than they know themselves. When you can describe their problems better than they can themselves, then you've got their trust. And so when someone is able to do that, and Tiffany can do that, and she does it again and again and again and again for everybody that goes through this program, and it's really incredible. So
thank you for that, Danielle. And yes, you've actually worked with some of my other clients with copywriting and received these manuals of theirs. And so it's so fun for me to work on. And again, it's for you, it was you reinvent how people share knowledge, tell stories, and inspire their audiences to act. Elegant copy, expert strategy, efficient sales. And then we talk about it's time to share the narrative, or to change the narrative, sorry. Which is great because that became like the tagline of the brand, which is super awesome. So thank you for that. And by the way, everybody, I'll give more information. I'll drop it in the link below, but I do have a workshop coming this Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern. And so what you're seeing this process here with Danielle, we're going to start the actual first baby steps of your brand and really creating that really clear vision of your brand, especially as we enter a new year. It's really, really important. So if you feel like your brand has been disconnected or disjointed, or you're not sure, you need that clarity, definitely come to that workshop. So I'll give you more information at the end.
Or you're like me and you didn't have one, or didn't realize that it was a thing that was not you, and you've been reluctant about putting yourself out there. Definitely be there.
Yeah, that's so true too. A lot of people, we build the plane while you're flying it, as we like to say, and you just throw spaghetti at the wall and kind of build, and then you don't realize that you have created a brand or you just don't create one at all. Okay, then I'm going to go really quickly through the brand guide, which I know this has been super helpful for your team. So basically, after we go through and we create the brand manual, then we do the brand guide, which is the actual visual pieces of the brand. So then we talked about the brand descriptors, the core ideals, how that all comes in to what is now your beautiful new logo. Then we talk about colors, get those really nailed down, which you can tell the story about that as well, the fonts, and then the visual presence.
The colors, we went back and forth on them, I think around, and they didn't feel right. And then I had kind of a brainwave to send you a bunch of pictures of my headbands. And I sent you this one, and you pulled, I think, the colors. This is the one, right? These are the colors.
Yep, those are the colors.
And we pulled the colors, and I was like, that's it. and it made so much sense that that's it, because these are the colors I wear, you know, blue, green,
Mm-hmm.
like these are, I'm a redhead, these are my colors. My entire wardrobe is either blue, green, or brown.
Yes.
And so, you know, that was kind of it. And then the yellow came in, and the gray, and it was like the color I didn't even know I needed.
Mm-hmm. The pop
And
of
it just
color.
became so fun. And I'm excited for this next part.
Yay, awesome. Yeah, and by the way, everybody, it's also like Danielle lives in Israel, for those of you who can't tell or don't know that. And so, you know, she wears headbands. And so it's like such a cool statement in her brand too. And it's always there, it's always present, and it's something that's really unique as well. So I think that's really fun. So let's then dive into the website. All right. So this is Danielle's homepage, and you guys are getting a sneak peek, by the
This is
way.
not live
This
yet.
is
It's not
not
live yet.
live. It will be live any day. We're putting the final touches on it. So this is literally a live brand and website reveal that you're seeing here. This is not live on her actual site yet. So again, just like we saw from the brand manual and the narrative that we figured out, same thing as here: elegant copy, expert strategy, efficient sales. It's time to change the narrative. Like, that is Danielle and what she does. And then her opt-in, and I won't go through everything, but I love this picture of Danielle because it's so cheerful. And she talks about how copywriting can be fun, amazing testimonials, people like Todd Herman, and then her programs and courses. Again, I won't go through all of these, Danielle, but I'll just kind of scroll through if you just want to talk about the process and how it's felt like seeing all of this actually come to life in the process.
Yeah, it's really been an amazing process. Watching this happen, seeing the pages take shape, feeling really good about what's there, and it was a fairly easy process as well once we had the brand manual in place.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and just knowing what we wanted. So yeah.
Definitely. Awesome. And then last but not least, let me see if I can present
Go.
this to make it prettier. All
Yeah,
right.
this is the piece that I had my team pull these, because I feel like a lot of people are like, okay, so I go through the branding, and then what? Can someone else take this and run with it and do something with it?
Yeah, so we did do all of these sub logos. So every time I work with a client as well, we look at, we're not just going to give you a logo. What is this as a branded system? So you walk away with your different offers, as long as you have this many offers. Otherwise, you have, maybe if you just had one, you would have something to follow moving forward. So we have the Danielle Weil in the circle. Then all of these other logos were able to create in the same pattern. So you see how they all work together. And then, like Danielle said, she actually was able to then hand this off to her team 100%, and they created all of the rest of this using that brand guide. So all of the clients, whether they're doing Facebook ads, if they're working with a copywriter like Danielle, if they're working, having a VA do graphics for them, you can use those 2 documents I was showing earlier and literally hand off once we complete the brand, and have it keep moving forward.
They really are like the building blocks of your business. So go back for a second. Let's go back for a second, because I'll tell. So this was the logo that you created for the Launch Copy Accelerator, which is my signature course that we just wrapped, 8 weeks to get your launch copy done. And this is the logo. And then I wanted to create something fun around it. And so we mocked this up as like the program image for Teachable. And then this was the image. And so the little mind map, because that's essentially like coming up with the strategy, coming up with your narrative. We thought that through as like the visual representation of what you would accomplish in the program. Like, it makes everything really clean and easy and fun. You know, I think there's a fun vibe in this. So we created this as an extension of the logo. And then we did the Facebook banner with, again, you have those bubbles on the side, and we were able to take that branding and create, you know, images for the group, reminders, We did, next one, we did branded slides. So we have this slide, like all the presentations that I did in the course were then off these branded slides. We created a branded slide template for the main DW brand. So whenever I do a presentation, like a guest expert for someone else or a training, I have these slides that look really, really good. You know, it just feels so much better. We created a bunch of different Facebook banners, again, using this core brand guide and logos that we had really spent time thinking through. Facebook ad images, and you can just see the possibilities. Facebook posts, these are just Canva. You know, you replace the colors in Canva and you take one of their things, and you know, you can do this yourself once you have the brand guide. And I just handed this off to my team and they ran with it. So what's possible when you have a legacy brand?
Yes. Well, thank you too for sharing all of that, because there's so much there. And again, it just makes me so happy to see when we create a brand and then, you know, whether it's, like you said, somebody doing it themselves or just a team, and they're like, okay, I get it. I can go, I can make Facebook ads. I can, you know, do the slides, all those things. So it's super exciting to see it all come together. Thanks again so much for being here and showing off your new shiny brand today.
Would not have been possible, you know, without you, of course. I mean, 2020 was a big year. It was a crazy year for everybody, but it was the year that I finally had a brand.
Awesome. I was so honored to work on your brand with you. It was a fun year in that respect. And so again, everybody, definitely check out Danielle, give her a shout out on Facebook, just search for her name. You'll see her linked here. And then also go ahead and sign up for the workshop. I'm going to drop that link in below. So if you're just coming on live now, I mentioned that I'll be having a workshop this Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern. We're really going to talk about how you can start building your own legacy brand and really creating that vision, especially as we walk into the new year. It's really time, you know, that we all sit back and plan. And so many people are planning, you know, their offers, and I'm going to start a podcast, I'm going to do all these things. But the thing is, if you don't have your brand in place, you'll have to fix it later. So branding is the #1 thing that you really want to think about as you enter the new year. So Danielle, any
very
last thoughts that you want to add before we sign off today?
First of all, go sign up for the workshop. Just do it. Even if it's not something that was top of mind or something that you think you needed, because I know, you know, it wasn't necessarily for me in full honesty. And then going through it, I was like, how have I lived without this? And so I want you all to have the same experience of like, how have I ever lived without this? So go sign up. It is going to be incredible.
All right, awesome. Thanks again, Danielle. Thanks everybody. And her site will be up and live and shiny super soon too. So follow her on Facebook, watch for the notifications, and stay tuned. All right, bye everybody.